Thank you, Kay. That was really interesting and stimulating. I think a key take-home message for us all is that this is not to be taken lightly. This is a serious business and needs serious resourcing and serious thought and planning. I would like to open the floor up for questions. I'm sure there are some.
I mightn't be able to answer them. Comments would be good.
Simon.
Hi, Kay. Given the limited evidence base that you presented today, would you prefer to advocate a more targeted approach to advanced care planning, and if so, how?
You mean targeted to particular groups?
Based on the evidence.
Yes, yes. Based on, if you look at the research, people have looked at particular groups and actually identified that they have special needs, like young people dying with dependent children, the people with dementia. There are a whole lot of different concerns and issues in relation to whether the conversations took place, their spouses, their family supports, and so on. Yes, I think that's what I said. I recommend that we consider how we do it within our specialties. There's some very good work going on in renal units where renal staff have become very skilled specialist palliative care people, and they don't even need to call on the specialist palliative care teams from the hospices. We get them to come and talk to us about what they do, because they have worked it out in relation to dialysis and talking about stopping dialysis and when. They do have time to do that often too. So, and Mirren Gott's quite clear about COPD. It's hard to map the illness trajectory. So, and also it's a group that doesn't tend to think of death in the same way. And the same with heart failure. It's interesting that people with heart failure people with cancer think, I'm going to die as soon as they got it. And in fact, a lot more of them are cured. But people with heart failure don't kind of have that pattern of thinking. So there's a whole lot, I think, of different conversations to have within your care groups. Does that answer the question?
Yes, but you seem to be promoting a widespread use of advanced care plan, but the evidence base would suggest it doesn't seem to influence either doctors' perception or output.
Okay,
outcomes.
Sorry, yeah. I think the legislation, I mean, I think I don't know what New Zealand will do, but I think it's something about acute environments, because that's where they don't get acted on. In the UK, similar. Because sometimes people don't bring them, or the person there is so distressed they can't express them or tell what the person wanted. So those, and it's a very rushed and hurried place for acute admissions. So the idea, and the evidence definitely shows that if people have made a care plan and they don't want to go to hospital and don't want to go and have particular treatment, but they want to stay at home and have their palliative care there, there's less people being admitted for that. So yes, that evidence is there. It's actually not, most of the research has been about getting the numbers up and how to do it.
Thank you, Kay. Are there any further questions?
I'm just interested in advanced care planning, surrogacy and EPOA and where they both sit.
Enduring power of attorney.
Enduring power of attorney.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of part of the package. If you look at the Mental Capacity Act, which is the UK one, and I think you have the same kind of position in your document that I can't remember the name of, that says you identify someone who will have that power, and that's when you choose your surrogate. That's the person you choose carefully. Is that?
Changes though since 2008. We've just been having a lot of talks from the community lawyers, and it's changed so much. It's really complicated. Even they're still coming to terms with the new legislation since 2008. And we can have an EPOA, but when is it actually coming to place? What are the limits of that person, even though the person's been nominated? So I think we're still struggling a little bit about how we actually interpret what someone's put in place.
Right.
And that's just awesome.
Yeah, the Medical Capacity Act and this document, capacity care planning and advanced care planning, a guide for health and social care staff is one of the documents on the ACP or the end of life websites in the UK that's worth having a look at. I don't think they've made it so complicated.
That applies very well to New Zealand.
No.
It's not helpful.
No, well, I don't know. I don't know what your law system. I saw that you could buy a living will, so you can actually cost you $19 to get a lawyer to write you a living will or something. I was looking on the website to see what you did here, but I have to say I don't know, very well what's going on in New Zealand. I was telling you what I know from the UK.
Final question.
Can I chip, not necessarily the final one, can I chip in as a geriatrician? I am concerned, there are a number of things like surrogacies who have no legal representation and rights in New Zealand. We often have divided families where people have varying viewpoints.
Yeah.
I think it is really important that people have peace of mind after the person has died, so that we need to respect the family as well as the person who's dying, who may not be aware of the circumstances, what the treatment possibilities are, because when we may make an advance directive, we don't know what treatments are out there, what the possibilities are going to be for the future, how distressing they may appear to be from our current knowledge. So people need to be informed to make a decision, and yet unless they're guided through by a health professional who's aware of some of the choices, they're not necessarily going to make decisions which really are in keeping with their values.
Yeah.
We are finding more and more, or a number of renal physicians who've had American training, where everybody is entitled to have dialysis. We are finding many people with cognitive impairment who are unable to be cared for at home. And when people say, yes, I want dialysis if I have it, it is imposing commitments on family far now who may not be able to provide that. So they end up maybe in a rest home or hospital level care with 3 trips to the local hospital that may be some distance away. So it's taking up 3 days of their every week for a treatment with their progressive cognitive impairment that renal physicians are saying, well, if you want it, you can have it. But it is a huge resource and a huge loss of quality of life. And it would be really good for people to have a more holistic, multidisciplinary assessment of people's care needs, including their cognitive assessment, before they embark on such treatments. Increasingly, we're finding that cancer treatment, the oncologists are increasingly appreciating that it would be really good to have a comprehensive assessment of patients rather than saying this treatment's possible for your cancer, but what is the price that you're going to pay? What are the consequences? And it would be really good for us to work across these silos to together inform patients, inform families what the implications are of what they seem to feel, what their wishes appear to be when they've got all the information and when they're aware of the impact on their quality of life and their independence. So it'd be much better for people to think about an ACP, say, at the time that we make a will, at a much younger age, at the time we need to be encouraged to sign enduring power of attorney, because the time when you've got a serious illness or you've been knocked over by a car is too late to try and find out what people's wishes are. So please do them early. Please consult widely with family.
Yep, no,
Thank you.
totally agree.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting and stimulating. I'm hoping that you'll be around over afternoon tea for those of us who wish to continue the discussion. There's a lot more talking to be done around this. Thank you, Kay.